In the early years of deep space exploration, when humans first began sending ships beyond the safety of their home planet, strange stories started to appear among the crews. These explorers were some of the bravest individuals, chosen to travel, far from Earth, into places no human had ever seen before. Life aboard a spacecraft was lonely and filled with endless silence. The stars outside were beautiful, but the emptiness around them could make anyone feel small. It was during these missions that rumors about a mysterious man began to spread. At first, it seemed like nothing more than whispers passed around during long voyages. A tired pilot might mention that he saw someone standing in a corridor where no one should have been. A technician might insist she caught a glimpse of a figure watching her in the reflection of a window. These reports were brushed off as tricks of the mind, the result of exhaustion, isolation, or the dim lights of a ship playing games with tired eyes. Yet, the descriptions were strangely similar, no matter who reported them. The figure was always a man. He looked calm, never threatening, and his appearance was strangely timeless. He was never described as old nor particularly young. His face seemed familiar to some, as though they had seen him before, but no one could ever remember where. He wore simple clothing that did not match any known uniform or style of the time. The most unusual detail was that no one could ever truly approach him. Whenever someone tried to get closer, he would vanish, leaving behind nothing but the unsettling certainty that he had really been there. Scientists and officials dismissed these tales. They said it was stress, lack of sleep, or the mind's way of creating company during long months away from Earth. But the number of sightings grew. Different crews on different ships in different corners of space all spoke of the same man. The stories followed a pattern. He never caused harm. In fact, some explorers believed he had tried to help them. A few claimed that when equipment failed or danger appeared, he was there, just for a moment, as if watching. One navigator swore that the mysterious man pointed towards a warning light that she had overlooked. That small action saved the ship from a serious accident. For those who experienced these encounters, it was impossible to believe it was all in their imagination. These were skilled professionals, trained to remain calm in extreme conditions. They were not the type to panic or invent ghost stories, and yet the image of this man stayed with them long after they returned to Earth. Some described him as comforting, like a quiet protector, while others admitted that his sudden appearances left them with a chill they could not shake off. In time, more reports were collected and a clear picture began to form. The man appeared only in abandoned or quiet places, deserted outposts, empty decks, or during moments when the crew felt most vulnerable. He never spoke, at least not in a way that could be recorded, but many who saw him felt a strong sense of purpose in his presence, as if he was there for a reason, watching over events with a knowledge no one else possessed. The first official record came from an engineer named Thomas Reed, who served on one of the earliest colony ships. He wrote in his log that while repairing a broken air filter, he noticed someone standing at the far end of the room. Thinking it was another crew member, he waved for assistance, but as soon as he looked up again, the figure was gone. Later, when he checked, every other crew member had been accounted for in a different section of the ship. Reed was not the type to believe in strange things, yet his words were clear. He was there. I know what I saw. It was no shadow. These accounts fascinated some and unsettled others. Commanders feared the stories would harm morale, so they often ordered their crews not to speak about the mysterious figure. But secrets never stayed buried for long. The tales spread from one mission to another, until they became a part of spacefaring culture. New recruits would hear about the man who never dies before their first launch. Some laughed it off, calling it an old myth meant to scare rookies. But deep inside, every traveler wondered if they would be the next to see him. It was not only in space where he was seen. Reports came from early colonies too, where life was harsh and uncertain. Pioneers living under artificial domes or mining asteroids in dangerous conditions claimed the man appeared before accidents, as if to warn them. One miner said he saw the figure standing near a support beam. Hours later, the beam collapsed. But thanks to his earlier inspection, lives were saved. Was it luck, or had the mysterious visitor truly guided him? With time, the legend only grew stronger. People began to call him the Eternal Traveler. They believed he was a being who had walked among the stars for centuries, never aging, never leaving a trace. Some speculated he was a lost astronaut from an ancient civilization, or perhaps a guardian sent to watch over humanity as it stumbled into the dangerous unknown of space. Skeptics, however, insisted it was nonsense. They pointed to the lack of hard evidence. No clear recordings, no physical proof. Only stories repeated again and again. Yet for those who had looked into his calm, ageless face, proof was not needed. They carried the memory with them for the rest of their lives, certain that they had witnessed something extraordinary. Whether he was real or just a shared dream born from loneliness, one thing was undeniable. The mystery of the man who never died had already taken root in the heart of human space exploration. The early encounters left behind a haunting question that no one could answer. Was this figure truly watching over them, or was he simply a reflection of their own fears and hopes in the vast emptiness of space? As humanity pushed further into the galaxy, building colonies on distant planets and moons, the stories about the mysterious man refused to fade. In fact, the more people spread across space, the more his legend seemed to grow. At first, the tales were dismissed as isolated events, the strange experiences of lonely crews lost in the silence of deep space. But soon, the same descriptions began to appear in reports from colonies separated by thousands of light years. It was as if no matter where humans went, this man was already there, waiting. On the frozen moon of Callus, where settlers struggled to build homes beneath the thick layers of ice, a group of workers reported seeing him standing on the edge of their camp. They said he appeared calm, almost curious, as though he were studying their every move. When they tried to call out to him, he vanished into the icy mist. Days later, an explosion tore through one of the mining tunnels, nearly killing the workers inside. Many survivors swore that his appearance had been a warning, though others insisted it was only coincidence. In another colony on a desert planet named Ryden, settlers claimed to have seen him during a violent sandstorm. Visibility was almost zero, and the storm threatened to destroy the fragile habitat domes. Through the swirling dust, some colonists said they saw the figure walking calmly against the wind, untouched by the storm around him. Those who saw him said his presence gave them the courage to act quickly, securing the domes and saving the colony from disaster. When the storm cleared, there was no sign of him, no footprints, no trace. Only the memory of his calm figure against the chaos of the storm remained. These stories spread like fire among travelers, traders, and settlers. The man had no name, but soon, people began calling him the Eternal Traveler, or the Watcher. To some, he was a savior, a mysterious protector who appeared only in times of danger. To others, he was a ghostly reminder of how little humanity truly understood about the universe. What made the mystery even more unsettling was that his appearance never changed. Decades passed, yet the descriptions remained exactly the same. Explorers in their 20s and miners in their 50s all described the same calm man, wearing the same simple clothing, looking neither young nor old. His face never aged, his features never shifted. He was constant, unchanging, like a shadow that followed humanity into the stars. There were countless debates about him. Scientists argued that the human mind, when faced with extreme loneliness and stress, often created illusions. They suggested that this mysterious man was nothing more than a shared hallucination, born out of humanity's fear of being truly alone in space. Yet the skeptics struggled to explain why people who had never met each other, living on different planets and ships, described him in nearly identical detail. Was it really possible for so many minds to create the same image again and again? The most troubling detail was that the man often seemed to appear before danger struck. Survivors recalled seeing him shortly before life-threatening accidents, equipment failures, or natural disasters. Was it all chance, or did he truly know something they did not? Some believed he had knowledge of the future, or that he existed outside of time itself. Others said he was a traveler from a distant civilization, one far older and wiser than humanity, who chose to guide them without revealing his true identity. Among the colonies, stories of him became almost like folklore. Children grew up hearing tales of the man who never dies. Artists painted his likeness, storytellers added his appearances into local legends, and spacefarers whispered his name during long journeys. For many, he was a symbol of hope, proof that even in the vast and terrifying emptiness of space, someone, or something, was watching over them. Yet not everyone felt comforted by his presence. There were those who feared him. To some, he was an omen, a sign that tragedy was near. "If you see the man," one miner said, "you better prepare for the worst." Entire crews admitted feeling uneasy after his appearances, as though they were being judged by eyes that saw far deeper than they could understand. The tension around the mystery only grew stronger when scattered bits of evidence began to surface. A handful of starships reported capturing blurry images on their security cameras. The recordings showed a faint figure in the background, always in the same form, always unchanging. Some argued that the images were errors caused by faulty equipment, but others claimed it was undeniable proof. Colonists shared personal logs where voices shook with honesty as they described the figure standing silently among them. One of the most famous accounts came from a colony ship named Horizon Dawn. According to the logs, the crew had been struggling with a navigation system failure that could have sent them drifting off course forever. Late one night, the captain recorded that she saw the mysterious man standing at the far end of the control room, his eyes fixed on the failing navigation screen. She claimed that his presence made her notice a small error she had overlooked, and correcting it saved the ship. "If not for him," she wrote in her log, "we would still be lost among the stars." These accounts began to form a strange pattern. The man appeared in moments when human lives were at risk, but he never directly interfered. He never spoke, never touched anything, never acted. He was only ever there, silent, almost like a reminder that someone was watching, leaving it to humans to take action themselves. This was one of the greatest puzzles of all. If he truly had the power to appear across the galaxy, why not do more? Why not stop disasters outright instead of simply standing there? The mystery deepened as colonies grew larger and humanity's reach extended further. Entire research teams dedicated themselves to studying the phenomenon, collecting testimonies and evidence. Despite their efforts, they never uncovered solid proof of his existence. Every time they thought they had answers, new questions arose. Was he real? Was he human? Was he even alive in the way humans understood life? Regardless of the truth, the legend of the man who never died spread across the galaxy, weaving itself into the history of exploration. Some called him a myth, others swore he was real. But one thing was certain: his presence, whether imagined or real, changed the way people looked at the stars. It reminded them that perhaps they were not as alone in the universe as they had once believed. As time passed, the mystery of the man grew even deeper. What had once been nothing more than rumors and whispered stories began to turn into something harder to ignore. The reason was simple: evidence. It was not just words anymore. People began capturing strange details in their ship logs, blurry security recordings, and fragments of visual data that seemed to confirm what so many had been saying for years. The man was real, or at least, something was. The first significant evidence came from a cargo ship known as the Solara. Its crew had been traveling across a trade route between colonies when their ship's systems suddenly began to malfunction. Security cameras caught moments of flashing lights and shadows in the corridors as the crew rushed to make repairs. Later, when reviewing the footage, the crew found something none of them could explain. For a split second in one of the hallways, the figure of a man appeared. He was standing still, facing the camera, with an expression that was calm and almost knowing. Then just as quickly he was gone. The ship's logs confirmed that no crew member had been in that hallway at the time. Word of the recording spread quickly, and soon people everywhere were talking about it. Some said it was proof at last, that the man was not just an invention of tired minds but a real presence moving among them. Others argued the video was faulty, nothing more than a trick of poor technology and failing systems. But the image was there, clear enough to stir debate across every colony. In the years that followed, more recordings appeared. Small, almost unnoticeable glimpses on starship cameras, flashes in helmet visors, reflections in the glass of observation, decks. Each one was grainy, imperfect, and easy to doubt. Yet, when compared side by side, a startling fact emerged. The figure always looked the same height, the same build, the same ageless face. His clothing never changed, as though time did not touch him at all. For decades, across different planets and ships, he remained exactly as he had first been described. Scientists began to argue fiercely over the meaning of this evidence. Some believed he was a projection, maybe even a flaw in the way human minds or machines processed information in deep space. Our eyes see patterns where none exist, they explained. We want comfort in the emptiness, so we create this figure. But others were not so quick to dismiss it. If the man was nothing more than imagination, why did he appear on mechanical recordings that had no minds to imagine him? The evidence became even harder to ignore after the incident on the exploration vessel Horizon Light. The crew was mapping a dangerous asteroid belt when one of the ship's external cameras captured something extraordinary. Among the endless rocks floating in the darkness, the figure of a man was visible, standing on a distant asteroid as if it were solid ground. He appeared perfectly still, untouched by the lack of air, gravity, or protection. The image lasted only seconds before vanishing, but the footage was preserved. Scientists could not explain it. No human could have survived such a place, and yet the man looked perfectly calm, as though the laws of nature had no hold on him. These pieces of evidence created a storm of questions. Was he real flesh and blood, or some kind of energy being? Could he be a traveler from another dimension, or was he something humans simply could not understand? Some whispered that he was a time traveler, moving across centuries without aging, appearing only when needed. Others believed he was a guardian, a silent observer ensuring humanity did not destroy itself too quickly as it expanded into the stars. Not all were convinced, however. There were skeptics who believed every piece of evidence had a logical explanation. To them, the figure was nothing more than shadows, lighting errors, or people projecting their own fears and hopes onto what they thought they saw. People want to believe, one scientist said. When you want something enough, the universe will always provide illusions to feed your belief. But for those who had seen him with their own eyes, there was no doubt. Pilots who risked their lives, colonists who lived through disasters, engineers who worked in silence among machines, they knew what they saw. They described him not as an illusion, but as a presence, something that carried weight and meaning. Many said they felt calmer in his presence, almost as if a quiet strength filled the air when he appeared. Others admitted they felt uneasy, like they were being studied by something far greater than themselves. A famous case that further deepened the mystery came from the colony on Vera 6. A powerful storm had swept through the settlement, tearing apart structures and flooding key systems. Amid the chaos, one young colonist recorded a short video on her handheld device. In it, the storm raged outside the transparent dome of the colony, and through the rushing winds, the calm figure of the man was visible, standing untouched just beyond the glass. His eyes seemed to look directly into the camera, steady and unwavering before he vanished into the storm. The footage caused waves of emotion across the galaxy. To some, it was undeniable proof. To others, it was nothing more than an elaborate trick. As more and more evidence appeared, people began to ask a question that no one could answer. If he was real, why had he never revealed himself? Why remain a silent watcher, always appearing but never explaining? Theories grew in number. Some claimed he was testing humanity, watching to see how they would react when left to solve problems on their own. Others believed he could not interfere, that his role was only to observe. A smaller group went even further, saying he was not a man at all, but something humanity did not yet have the words to describe. The debates divided people everywhere. In the marketplaces of colonies, in the classrooms of young students, in the meeting halls of leaders, everyone had their own opinion. Was the man a guardian, a myth, a dream, or a warning? And if he was real, what did he want? Yet no matter the debates, one fact remained unshakable. The sightings, the recordings, the evidence, all of it showed a figure who never changed, who appeared across decades without ever aging, without ever speaking, without ever leaving behind a single trace. He was a mystery wrapped in silence, a puzzle without a solution. And as humanity reached deeper into the unknown, the question of who, or what, he truly was, only grew more urgent. As the years went by, the stories about the mysterious man became more than just rumors. They became a part of human history in space. Scientists and explorers alike struggled to understand him. Every encounter raised more questions than answers. The most shocking account came from an explorer named Elias Marlowe, who spent decades studying distant star systems. During one of his missions, he claimed he had finally spoken with the man. This revelation shook the entire spacefaring community. According to Marlowe, he had been on a remote research station orbiting a small, uninhabited planet. The station's systems had failed, leaving the crew stranded. Supplies were running low and tensions were high. One night, as he was alone in the observation chamber, he saw the man appear across the room. Unlike previous sightings, this time, he did not vanish immediately. Marlowe described feeling a strange calm wash over him. Somehow he knew he could speak without fear. "I asked him who he was," Marlowe later wrote in his private journal, "and why he was always watching. I expected silence or a trick of the mind, but he answered, not with words, at least not as we know them, but with a feeling. It was as if he was trying to show me something about the universe, about life, about the responsibility of those who explore it." Marlowe explained that during their encounter, he had a vision of countless civilizations, both human and alien, thriving and failing across the stars. The man seemed to be a guardian, a silent presence moving through space to guide and protect those who might otherwise destroy themselves or be destroyed by forces they could not understand. He did not intervene directly, but gave subtle signs, small warnings, and moments of clarity that allowed people to make the right choices. The story caused a stir because it suggested that humanity was not alone in the universe in more ways than one. If the man was real, he represented knowledge and power far beyond human understanding. Some people were awed by the idea that such a being could exist, quietly helping civilizations survive. Others were terrified, realizing that the universe might hold beings whose purposes they could not predict or control. Even with this account, no one could fully prove his existence. There were no physical traces, no records of his arrival or departure. All anyone had were the experiences of those who saw him, the faint evidence in video logs, and the consistency of descriptions over decades. Yet Marlowe's story made people rethink everything they had believed about the man. Perhaps he was not merely a hallucination or myth. Perhaps he truly was a being whose life spanned centuries, whose mission was far larger than any single human could comprehend. Some began to speculate about his origin. Was he a human who had discovered the secret to immortality? A traveler from another galaxy who had mastered time and space? Or something else entirely, beyond biology or physics as humanity knew it? The more people thought about him, the more they realized how little they truly understood. And the more they realized that their own lives and the lives of their colonies might be guided in ways they could not see. Despite the controversy, one fact became clear. His presence had changed people. Those who saw him often became calmer. In moments of crisis, more patient, more thoughtful. There was a quiet wisdom in the knowledge that someone or something was watching over them, not to control, but to guide. It gave people hope, even when hope seemed impossible. Even the skeptics admitted that the stories had value, teaching humanity to remain vigilant, careful, and compassionate as they explored the unknown. Yet the mystery also created fear. What if the man had rules humans could not understand? What if he punished mistakes in ways no one could predict? Entire colonies debated whether his presence was a blessing or a warning. Some leaders encouraged people to be vigilant, to listen for his subtle signs. Others dismissed the stories entirely, worried that belief in him might cause distraction or superstition in critical missions. The legend of the man became a part of culture as well. Stories, songs, and paintings captured his image. People imagined conversations they might have with him. Children dreamed of meeting him one day, hoping to glimpse the calm, ageless face that had guided humanity through danger for decades. The man who never died became a symbol not only of mystery, but also of the responsibility that came with exploring the stars. Through all of this, the central question remained unanswered. Who was he really? Why had he chosen to watch over humans and not interfere directly? Was he truly benevolent, or was he following a purpose that could not be questioned? Humanity had no answers, and perhaps never would. And yet, the story of the encounter remained one of the most profound in the history of space exploration, a reminder that some mysteries are meant to inspire thought, reflection, and careful wonder rather than be solved. To this day, the mystery of the man who never died continues to captivate humans across the galaxy. Despite countless sightings, recordings, and personal encounters, no one has ever been able to confirm his true nature. Some still call him Awar, myth, a shared hallucination born from the loneliness and stress of space travel. Others swear on their lives that he is real, a guardian or observer, quietly guiding humanity through challenges that no one else can see. Across the colonies, the stories persist. Each generation adds new accounts to the growing tapestry of encounters. Pilots speak of him appearing in critical moments. Engineers describe finding his image in the background of security footage. And ordinary settlers share tales of seeing him during storms or accidents. The figure is always the same: calm, ageless, and unchanging, with a quiet presence that leaves a lasting impression. Some people study him seriously, forming research groups dedicated to understanding the phenomenon. They collect every report, analyze every video, and compare experiences from different planets and ships. While skeptics dismiss the work as chasing shadows, many researchers remain convinced that the man represents something beyond human comprehension. There is a pattern to his appearances: moments of danger, moments of human struggle, moments when guidance or awareness is most needed. Yet the mystery remains. He never intervenes directly. Even without direct answers, the man has left a lasting legacy. Humanity has learned to pay attention to subtle warnings, to act carefully, and to trust in their instincts. Some believe that his presence has saved countless lives, even if no one can measure it. His story has become a part of the culture of exploration, a legend that teaches courage, responsibility, and vigilance in the vast emptiness of space. Artists and storytellers continue to share his image, imagining what he might be like, why he appears, and what he might want from humanity. Songs tell of his calm presence during storms, paintings capture his timeless face amidst the stars, and literature explores the possibility that he is a guardian sent by forces humans cannot yet understand. Even skeptics find themselves drawn to the beauty and mystery of his legend. The mystery also reminds humanity of its own limits. Despite advanced technology, faster-than-light travel, and deep understanding of physics, humans have encountered something they cannot fully explain. The man who never died is a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that even as they conquer space, there are forces, beings, and truths that remain beyond reach. He inspires curiosity, humility, and a constant desire to learn more about the universe. For some, the legend of the man is personal. Explorers who have seen him, even for a moment, describe the experience as life-changing. They feel more careful, more thoughtful, and more connected to the vastness around them. Survivors of dangerous incidents often credit him with guiding them, even if indirectly. Whether real or imagined, his presence has changed lives, shaped careers, and inspired entire generations of spacefarers to move forward with courage. The question of whether he is fact or myth remains unanswered. And perhaps that is the greatest part of his story. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. They are meant to challenge, to inspire, and to remind humanity that the universe is far greater than any one person, colony, or species. The man who never died embodies that truth. He is a silent witness to humanity's triumphs and mistakes, a guardian whose presence is both comforting and unsettling, and a legend that will continue to guide and intrigue those who journey among the stars. The end, the story leaves a message. There is always more to discover, more to learn, and more to understand. Humanity may never fully know the man who never died, but the idea of him encourages exploration, careful thinking, and hope. Whether he is real or a shared dream, his legend is a gift, a reminder that even in the cold, endless reaches of space, there is always the possibility of guidance, wonder, and mystery waiting just beyond the horizon.